Now we'd officially start the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance. If you join me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now declare this meeting of Clermont County Board of Commissioners on January the 27th, 2020, duly open. We'll start off B, approval of regular session minutes of January 22nd, 2020. Board, I know you've had these minutes prior to this meeting, had the opportunity to review them, have any clarifications or questions answered. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as provided?
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
A second.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. C, we have a proclamation this morning for the designation of Four Chaplains Sunday here in Clermont County. And it will be a recommendation of the board to issue this proclamation designating Sunday, February 2nd, 2020, to be Four Chaplains Sunday in Clermont County. If you'll join me at the podium. We have Ron Hartman here this morning from our Veterans Administration. He's the post commander of American Legion Post 72, right?
Yes, sir.
And you are a member of the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame in 2018.
Correct.
Ron, we're pleased to have you here this morning.
I'm good. I'm waiting for
I know you are. I was just.
I'll present this proclamation to you on behalf of the veterans here in Clermont County. Proclamation of Four Chaplains Sunday, February 2nd, 2020. Whereas the Clermont County Council of the American Legion, as part of their Service to God and Country program, has requested that the Board of Clermont County Commissioners assist them in their endeavors. And whereas February 3rd, 2020 will mark the 77th anniversary of the sinking of the troop ship Dorchester by the enemy in the waters of the North Atlantic, which carried to their deaths four chaplains of three faiths who stood united in prayer as that ship went down. Whereas it is fitting at a time when the freedom of this world is being challenged that the citizens of Clermont County, Ohio, should give special recognition in the memory of those who sacrificed their lives for the cause of freedom. And whereas the heroic deed of these four chaplains and their combined act of supreme devotion and sacrifice for American liberties and their love for mankind will be an inspiring and shining example of real brotherhood for all time to all people of the world. And whereas we must all see to it that their ultimate act of devotion in the cause of human freedom and justice for all shall not have been made in vain. Now therefore let it be resolved that we, the Clermont County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim Sunday, February 2nd, to be observed as Four Chaplains Sunday, and call upon all citizens to commemorate the date with appropriate observances and prayers in their homes and houses of worship. Furthermore, that consideration be given to attending the special services to be planned and conducted by the American Legion to be held at the Owensville United Methodist Church at 2580 US 50 Batavia, Ohio, 45103, starting at 10 a.m. to honor the spirit of these American heroes. Ron, on behalf of Clermont County Board of Commissioners, David Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, Claire B. Corcoran, Member, I ask that you accept this proclamation for Four Chaplains Sunday. Thank you, sir, for being here today.
Thank you.
You bet. Would you like to have a few words?
Thank you very much.
sir.
Thank you. I accept this on behalf of all the veterans here in Clermont County, and we thank the commissioners for setting aside this particular day as a remembrance here. I can't say enough for what the commission does here for us veterans here in Clermont County. And it's very gratifying to know that anything that we need, wherever we come to, we get it, okay? And once again, thank you for proclaiming this Sunday as Four Chaplains Day. Thank
It's
you.
our honor, Ron. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Take a picture with us.
Yeah.
Right out here. Right out here.
Oops.
We're going to go right here in the very front.
You'll be on every news channel. Ready? Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And I'll see you or something. Yeah, okay, thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
We'll move to D, public participation. We've come to that portion of our meeting where we invite the public to participate in the Board of County Commissioners. We obviously value that participation. Is there anyone here this morning that would like to participate as a member of the public? Seeing none, I'll close public participation, and we'll move to E, consent agenda. Board, I know you've had the consent agenda prior to this meeting, had the opportunity to review it, see what items were on there. Are there any items that you'd like removed from the consent agenda for further discussion?
I have 3 items. Mr. Dick is here from Job and Family Services. On page 2 at the bottom, I'd like him to do an explanation on it before we vote on it. It's the Ohio Job and Family Services Directors Association, the Public Children's Services Association of Ohio, and Ohio Child Support Enforcement Directors Associations.
Any other items that you would like to remove for further discussion?
None.
Item number 2, 3 items will be removed. Okay. Then I'd ask for a roll call to consider the consent agenda with the removal of those 3
You
items.
had a motion yet?
No.
I mean, a motion. I said roll
Would you like
call.
just an explanation?
Yes. Yeah.
Before we
Want to do
vote
that,
on
or you
this?
want to?
Or do you want to actually remove those 3 items from the consent?
I can do it
It's
either
been-
way.
What's our protocol?
I suspect the orders of procedure call for you to have it removed
Good.
and have it addressed as an
Non-
excerpt of the first.
All right.
You want to remove the entire item number 2? Or
No,
those 3
just those items separate and apart from.
Yes.
Okay,
That's what I understood her request was.
that was what I understood.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make the motion?
I'll second the motion to approve the consent agenda with those 3 items removed.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy?
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Now, those 3 items will become the first items of the non-consent agenda, which is F.
We have, those 3 items are requests from various departments to join professional organizations and to authorize payment of the annual dues in the amounts outlined below. And these are specific to the Ohio Job and Family Services Directors Association, Public Children's Services Association of Ohio, and Ohio Child Support Enforcement Directors Association. And Tim Dick is here, and I'll allow him to explain the benefits of those organizations.
Good morning, Commissioners. I
Morning.
appreciate the opportunity to explain these rather large membership dues. So, I want to step back for a minute for the general public that doesn't understand what DJFS encompasses, because it is uniquely different here in Clermont County. It includes 6 divisions. 4 of the primary, what I consider primary, that's Children's Protective Services, Public Assistance, Child Support, and also Ohio Means Jobs. And where Clermont County is unique is that it also includes the Regional Training Center, as well as Family and Children First. So we're the administrative agent of those latter 2 organizations. So you saw the membership requests for those. But DJFS for all counties does not encompass all 4 of those entities. For example, the county to our north, Warren County, they're all 4 separate. So they have a director, separate buildings, separate funding, everything for each of the 4 divisions. Clermont County, over the years, has incorporated all 4, and there are some advantages to that, to include shared funding. So each one of these associations, these membership associations that we're requesting for, have unique functions as well for us to be able to benefit from the advocacy, both the legislative, budget with the governor, various organizations. We need to be members of those organizations. So I wanted to just highlight some of the most recent benefits that we have received from being part of the memberships of these various organizations. Specifically, the Ohio Job and Family Services Director Association and the Public Children's Services Association of Ohio. Children's Services received over $700,000 of additional money in the last budget. That was through the state child protection allocation. It was doubled. Ohio is last in the nation for state funding of children's services. Dead last. We received $700,000 specifically for Clermont County, and so for the state as a whole, they have doubled the state child protection allocation, and now we are second or third from the bottom in the nation. So without the advocacy work of these membership organizations, meeting with these legislators, figuring out what children's services directors or what DJFS directors would most be helpful in meeting with certain legislative of all these committees at the House and the Senate, I'm confident that this funding increase would not have happened. And it was these two associations who had joint shared reasons to do that were able to make that happen. Additionally, what we've seen in this last House Bill 166 was the inclusion of a new funding source, multi-system youth. And where that comes into play for Clermont County specifically is they have created an $8 million pot of money for the state, for the counties to advocate for these children that parents would relinquish their custody because of some developmental disabilities or cognitive delays where the parents could not care for these kids, and they couldn't afford residential treatment. So they would say, here, CPS, take my child. I don't want to, but I can't afford the treatment that he needs. And in Clermont County right now we have 4 youth that are in our custody. Not because of anything the parents did, no fault of the kids, but because of those circumstances where they can't afford the treatment. These associations joined with the legislator, the governor, and was able to get this funding source created. Those 4 kids that are in our custody are $400,000 a year is what it costs our local children's services out of our levy to care for them. So this $8 million that now we're going to be able to access is hugely beneficial for us because it saves on our local levies. So this is the type of stuff that these associations work for, because we are county administered, state supervised. And what that means is not that the state's working against us, but sometimes they don't think about the rules that they want to propose and how it impacts us on a local level. So we got to be able to have the ability to advocate and explain to them, here's the repercussions of this, the unintended consequences of these rules. Can we make these changes? And we've been largely successful in working with them in this way.
And Tim, while you were explaining it, these membership dues, what are they based on? Are they based on population or?
Great question. For the most part, it's population. The exception is the Child Support Director Association. That is based on the caseload size. So we're in the category of large for the caseload size, but we're also in a category of large for the Director Association and the Public Children's Services Association. So we're not paying as much as, say, Hamilton County, but we are paying more than Brown County. And again, it's based on the population. So.
And I think it's very healthy to have a discussion about
Absolutely.
this because, you know, obviously it does represent our taxpayers here in Clermont County, and they need to know what they get for
Absolutely.
these things.
And there's training involved also, correct?
It's a great point. Yes, there is training involved. The state, you know, unfortunately, with the exception of the Children's Services side, the state doesn't have some formal training for our public assistance, child support. Most of that is driven by the associations. They have the yearly conferences. can get a lot of training, a lot of cross-training, a lot of networking. So these best practices that specific counties have created, then we're able to go up there and learn from them. They're able to learn from us. It's a huge benefit for our staff.
I remember when you put in sets, and that was, the whole team up there was working with each one of the teams in each county, making sure everyone was coordinated.
Yes.
So everybody was doing the same thing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Any further conversation or discussion?
none. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You've heard the request and Mr. Dick's explanation. For the Clermont County Department of Job and Family Services, the Public Children's Services Association, and the Ohio Child Support Enforcement Directors Association dues, as listed in a portion of item 2 that was removed from the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. We'll move on to item number 5 in the non-consent agenda.
Good morning.
Morning.
Jeremy Evans, County Engineer. First item, item number 5, it's a recommendation to resolve to accept the following streets and links stated situated within the dissolved village of Newtonsville in Wayne Township as public roads, and for the placement of those roads into the Clermont County public road system. I won't read the list. Some of these get pretty long, these next few items, but there are 3 roads on this item, total of about a tenth of a mile.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 5 for reestablishing roads that were once in the village of Newtonsville and Wayne Township to the Clermont County Public Roads System. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved, received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item 6.
Item 6 is a similar recommendation to resolve to accept the following streets and links as stated, situated within the dissolved village of Newtonsville and Wayne Township as public roads for placement into the Wayne Township public road system. There are 5 roads here for a total just over a mile.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 6 to place roads that were from the dissolved village of Newtonsville into Wayne Township. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Anything further?
Yes, how do we decide which ones of these become county roads and which become township roads?
Good question. Some of them are extensions of existing county roads, so they used to end at the village boundary, so those will be extended. So it's more or less the through roads would be county, the local streets would be township.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item 7.
Item 7 is a recommendation to resolve to accept the following streets and links as stated, situated within the dissolved village of Amelia in Batavia Township as public roads for placement into the Clermont County public road system. There are 2 streets just under 4/10 of a mile.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7 to reassign roads from the dissolved village of Amelia into Batavia Township. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
But wait, I think that's into the Clermont County public road system.
Oh, was it?
Not,
Yeah.
yes.
Item number 7.
No, number 7 is to put them in the Clermont County public road system. Number 8 is to put them in the Pierce Township. I believe.
You know, you're correct. There's 2 roads, Chapel Road and Amelia
Yes.
Olive Branch Road.
Yes. Got it. Got it. You're absolutely correct. What I'd read there was it said location dissolved village of Amelia, and then it had Batavia Township, but you're right.
Yep.
It's to reassign to the Clermont County Public Road System.
Right.
I stand corrected.
Are we calling for a new motion then? Or same motion?
Yes, I'll just call for, do I have a motion to consider approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Anything further?
Are both of these extensions of?
Extensions of roads that we've
other county
maintained,
roads?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number 8.
All right, 8 is a recommendation to resolve to accept the following streets and links stated, situated within the dissolved village of Amelia in Pierce Township for public roads for placement into the Pierce Township public road system. There are 53 for a little over 9 miles total.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number 9.
Number 9 is the final recommendation, resolve to accept the following streets and links as stated, situated within the dissolved village of Amelia in Batavia Township as public roads for placement into the Batavia Township public road system. There are 19. They total a little over 4 miles.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Jeremy, just to ask, Amelia.
Yes.
Downtown.
Yes.
Explain to me how that was before the disillusionment as far as 125 was concerned. Someone had said at one time that had kind of been placed into the village of Amelia for them to do some maintenance on. How does that stand today?
So 125, even though it's a state route, when those state routes go into villages, the villages do assume some of that maintenance responsibility. ODOT still maintains some permitting and some other oversight, but now that the village is dissolved, that will fall back to ODOT.
Okay. So they will have it.
That's automatic.
Yes.
You do.
Okay.
Correct.
Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number 10. Thanks, Jeremy.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yvonne Smith, Benefit Plan Coordinator for Clermont County. It's my recommendation, with the concurrence of Sandy Tahat, Human Resources Administrator, to authorize David L. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute a tuition assistance application submitted by Matthew Newman of the Water Resources Department for participation in the Clermont County Tuition Assistance Program pursuant to Section 4.12 of the Clermont County Personnel Policy and Procedures Manual.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10 for tuition assistance and reimbursement. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11.
Item 11 is a recommendation to reappoint Jeff Harris out of Clarksville, Ohio, to serve as the county apiary inspector for calendar year 2020, and it's at the rate of $15 per hour, which is the same as last year, and he will be reimbursed for mileage at the current IRS rate in accordance with the board's travel policy, and this is pursuant to and in compliance with Section 90907 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11 to reappoint Jeff Harris as the Clermont County Apiary Inspector for our county. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number 11 concluded our non-consent agenda. G, additions to the agenda. Are there any additions, Tom?
No, sir.
Hearing 0 additions. H, I'm requesting an executive session pursuant to Section 121.22, G1, and G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to first consider the dismissal or discipline of one or more public employees, and second, to confer with the prosecuting attorney regarding pending or imminent litigation, respectively. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy?
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes, we will proceed into executive session. We will return and we will conduct further business. Thank you. We've returned from executive session. No decisions were made, and we'll continue on with the agenda. Tom, are there any additions to the agenda?
Yeah, we have a personnel action in the Water Resources Department for the board to consider adding to the agenda.
Board, you've heard the addition from the Water Resources Department for a personnel issue. I'd like to entertain a motion to add that item to the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Tom, would you proceed with that addition?
It's a personal action, Water Resources Department, Caleb Gruber, and he's an Operator 1. And this would be a suspension without pay for 120 hours. And the effective dates are 1/29/2020 through 2/15/2020.
Board, you've heard the reading of the addition to the agenda for discipline of a current employee here at Clermont County for a 15-day suspension. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Any further additions to the agenda, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Then we'll move to I, county staff and elected officials discussion. We do have county staff here today, here at the board, and obviously David that's running the video there. Do you all have any comments or anything you'd like to talk about?
No, sir.
Then we'll move from county staff elected official discussion, and we will move to J for member comment. Board members, do you have any comments or that you'd like to make for the meeting today?
No, thank you.
Nope.
I do. I believe that our board should send sincere condolences
Why?
today for losing a county commissioner in Hamilton County. Todd Portune was loved by tons of people, and he actually was wonderful to both parties, and it was my pleasure knowing him in Hamilton County, and we lost a great person.
I'd like to come back then and say, yes, I forgot to mention that. Todd was a close friend. We both served on the OKI Board of Directors and were in the line to be president at the same time. I found him to be very thoughtful and considerate. He had his own political party point of views, but we went to Washington and we presented to the various senators and legislators, and we talked off the same talk piece, and he led the discussion in Democrats' office, I led the discussion in Republican office, and we were saying exactly the same thing to benefit our region. So
Nice.
he's a good man, and we're going to miss him.
Likewise, I got to sit next to Todd Portune on my first year at OKI. I got to watch him very closely, although obviously we subscribe to different politics. I found him to always represent the issues that were in front of OKI for the betterment of our district in Ohio and Kentucky and Indiana. I know I got to speak to him and got to speak to him on behalf of Ed when he was no longer able to attend OKI, and found him to have a spirit of challenge in this terrible disease that he fought. He accepted that and fought to the very end, and I know he will be gratefully missed here in Cincinnati. And I think we would be remiss not to mention Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter today, killed in a tragic accident in a helicopter transfer in heavy fog there in California. I know the Lakers will never be considered the same with the loss of him, and my prayers and thoughts go out to his family and especially to Todd's family here in Cincinnati.
And on another note, we have the 75th anniversary today of the liberation of Auschwitz. 75 years ago.
Wow.
Today's International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Anything else, Board?
And
Well, with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting of today.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
It's been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. That concludes our meeting of January the 27th, 2020. Thanks for watching today, and we will see you Wednesday of this week. Thank you.